Peasant Productions presents the Math of ESP, why it works even if you don't believe in it. Trying to explain why the limitations of data are very bad to work with and how it affects everything you do in life, how it messes up the overall situation that you are in because you get so used to limiting what's going on that you don't understand you have become non-inclusive to the point you are an absolute exclusive type society. Now, like I pointed out, the four churches of the Bible, the Christians, the Catholics, the Jews, and the Muslims, okay, they're all from the Roman Empire, okay? And the Roman Empire borrowed something prior to them, but they're the ones that kind of made it famous in history, called divide and conquer. You got four churches: Jews, Muslims, Christians, Catholics. And can you name anywhere on the planet other than Antarctica where they're not fighting each other, where there's not some kind of constant strife going on? You don't see a Muslim go and throw a bomb at the Vatican. You don't see the Vatican go and throw a bomb at, oh, what the heck is that other place? Anyway, you know, at the Muslim center of their stuff. I'll think of it somewhere here along the way. They're Mecca. That's it, Mecca. You don't see that, okay? Now, why would they not try and do that? I mean, in World War, okay, you know, granted the United States was pretty well protected because, you know, it had quite a bit of water on either side of it to keep it from getting attacked. But the Japanese did, in fact, have submarines come and shoot at California coastline, Oregon coastline, Washington coastline. There are places where you can go and actually see bullet holes from those days. There used to be people alive, but we're talking about, you know, 70 years back now to World War II. It's been a while, so most of those people are dead or at least dementia to the point where they really can't tell you too much about what they did. Alaska did have a couple of bombs dropped on it with balloons. I think the balloons did more damage than the bombs did by the time they got there. But needless to say, we bombed the snot out of Tokyo, which is the capital of Japan. We firebombed the snot out of any kind of civilization over there. We went to Japan and dropped 2 nuclear devices. And keep in mind, folks, that the United States running around screaming how nobody else should be allowed to have nuclear bombs. The United States is the only country to ever use a nuclear device in war. So why should they be the only ones to be allowed to have it? They are a fascist regime, which fascism is the use by corporations for profit of a governmental system and a military of that government to conquer its own people and anything on the outside of its country that argues against their right. Okay? In other words, the British Empire was a fascist system because the British Empire was for the British companies to make money. Spain conquered Latin America and all for its corporations, for its gold. Okay, so you might want to look at history kind of deeper and stop playing name calling, he said, she said games, divide and conquer games, and actually look at the root cause of your wars before you start pointing your fingers. But like I was pointing out, I mean, World War II. London got bombed quite extensively, and they still dig the bombs up, by Germany. And Germany's Berlin got bombed quite extensively. But Mecca doesn't get bombed. The Vatican doesn't get bombed. You don't have shootings in the Vatican City, or actually it should be called Vatican Country, because it is classified as a country. It is not classified as a city. You don't have a lot of the places that are the extreme centers of the Muslim religion ever under attack. But everywhere else on the planet, mosques, churches, synagogues, yeah, everybody's blowing everybody up, because then everybody gets pissed off and you make a new enemy. The CIA, okay, what do? They go in and they shoot and kill people so that Daddy got killed. Daddy's son is now a terrorist, because Daddy's son, eye for an eye, wants revenge. Mommy wants revenge. So Mommy's going to strap on a bulletproof vest and pack it full of military-grade explosives or ammonium sulfate fertilizer explosives. It doesn't matter. You killed one of them, so they're going to come back and kill one of you. And it's an ongoing game. It is purposely done by the elite. They do this. They finance both sides of every war for every place imaginable. And the end result is they end up owning an awful lot of every country, because they own the land, they own the industry, they own the factories, they own the manufacturing and farming and rentals, and you name it, they've got it, okay? It's all there because it's all in mortgages to the bank. And the banks all owe it to the big banks. And the big banks, of course, owe it to a couple of families. So yeah, you divide and conquer yourself all the way up and down. You play the game that is literally, close to 3,000 years old, because divide and conquer, I'm pretty certain goes all the way back to Alexander the Great, who was Mesopotamia, which is about 1000 AD, 1000 BC. Okay? So it's at least that old. Okay? And also, like I pointed out, the Exodus that you read about in here, the Exodus of the Jewish religion, okay, there is no factual evidence of that ever happening. It's only in these religious books that are so heavily guarded by these religions that it exists. So let's put some logic to that for a minute, okay? Egypt lost all of its slaves. What do you think would happen in the United States if, because of all the bad-mouthing in the United States about immigrants coming there and working, all the Mexicans packed their bags and left, which means your entire farming industry just collapsed. Most of your ranches just collapsed. An awful lot of your textile industry just collapsed. And about 2/3 of all of your housekeepers and maids and laundry workers and all of the little minute services that are extremely labor intensive but you don't want to pay a lot of money for, packed up and left the country. Yeah. You would have absolute pandemonium. You would have absolute social upheaval. You would have about 10 years minimum of it settling down. It would take that long for people to readjust to the idea that they have to wash their own clothes, they have to get their own stuff out and clean their own stuff, they have to do their own shopping, they have to do their own cooking, they have to cut their own lawns. or they have to hire somebody that is now white instead of Mexican to cut the lawns. They have to have almost a third of the construction industry is cheap immigrant Mexican labor in California alone. Now, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Missouri, Texas, Florida, Louisiana, did I name enough states to show you just how badly you would lose? What would happen? Has Trump ever admitted to the fact that he has Mexicans washing his floors for him somewhere? And he would be quite pissed if they packed up their bags and left and he had to get down there on the floor and scrub his own floors. I'm pretty certain that, Ivanka and Melina aren't going to get down there and scrub them for him. Yeah. So there would be something of major impact in society that would leave so many tens of thousands of pieces of evidence that something happened, that Moses never had an exodus from Egypt. It simply did not happen. It cannot have happened because there is no physical evidence that a third to half of the entire population of the Egyptian cities got up and walked out of town. Okay? That's the problem with not thinking for yourselves. That's the problem with listening to a preacher on a pulpit, or a politician on a pulpit, or a corporate president on a pulpit tell you, don't read anything, just listen to what I say. That's why I stand here in front of my camera and I tell you people, go challenge everything I say by going out there in the real world and looking. Take a look at what's really around you. Take a look at how much I'm telling you is logically not correct. Take a look at how much damage you're doing to yourselves. And to give you a really good classic example of what I'm talking about here, there are literally thousands of organizations all out trying to save the environment. Yet every last one of them, whenever they have been contacted by me, and I have not in any way contacted them all, every last one of them is always the same. Oh, no, we have to worry about the polar bears. We have to worry about the seals. We have to worry about the penguins. We have to worry about this. We have to worry about that. Wow, okay. So the polar bears and the seals that both depend on the ice aren't connected. Yeah. See the problem? They have simply divided amongst themselves and they have created a situation where all the oil companies work together. Every last oil company on this planet, which is only, I think if you get down and actually count it, there's only about 15 actual mother corporations. Mother countries. There are only about 15 actual mother corporations of the oil industry. They have all the offspring that you know of as being this gas station or that gas station, this type of thing. Okay, they are all interlinked otherwise. Okay, Standard Oil, Rockefeller is about 5 major multi-corporations around the world. You don't know that those ones over there in Russia are actually run by Standard Oil, Rockefeller, because they got a Russian name to them. Okay? So the oil companies work together, but the environmentalists, they don't want to all get together, and they don't have to give up being Sierra Club and defenders of wildlife. They have to sit there and say, we are all now working together, world united, one issue. You can still donate to us, or you can donate to the whole. But we are all coordinating our effort now. We now are 400 million people fighting for the environment instead of a party of 1,000 here, 4,000 there, 20 here, And, you know,